granddad talks too much. And she still reminds me of that. So today I was hoping to bring them with me, but she said, no, I don't want to come. But the point is that you do inspire people. And my grandson, who's really very smart, very genius kid, he has his mind's made up. He wants to be an engineer. And plus there are many other stories in my family, but I'll spare you for those stories today. But to this year's Dr. Ronjon, I welcome you on behalf of our fellow Hall of Famers. I hope you cherish tonight's recognition and joining this family of industry legends as much as I did for the last 4 years. But the significance of Silicon Valley Engineering Council Hall of Fame extends far beyond mere recognition. It serves as a beacon of inspiration for inspiring engineers, scientists, and innovators around the world. By showcasing the remarkable achievements of its inductees, the Hall of Fame ignites a spark of creativity and ambition in the hearts of future generations, motivating them to push the boundaries of what is possible and strive for greatness. Moreover, the Silicon Valley Engineering Council Hall of Fame serves as a reminder of the collaborative nature of innovation. Behind every breakthrough and every success story are countless individuals working tirelessly behind the scenes. And I'm saying this because I see there are a lot of students here. So I think this is really should be very inspiring for the students that one day you will be standing here and getting inducted into Hall of Fame. So I think after I got inducted, it has made me even more accountable and responsible for what I need to do for the industry. And I'm working tirelessly to focus on the things that matters the most. For example, this industry, which is going to double in size to 1 trillion from 600 billion last year. And we have the massive shortage of talent. There's a climate challenges, there's a supply chain disruptions, and many others. These are global challenges, and no single CEO, no single company, no single country can solve. So I think the future really is bright for the students who are here. There's a lot of issues. The climate issues are definitely the most important one, and of course, talent. So again, this forum will inspire many more people to really go and focus on the global challenges that we're all confronted with, so that we can benefit from the growth of this industry to 1 trillion. And that trillion industry is going to bring a lot more benefits to the society. In fact, going forward, right now we're going through the AI era. And just wait another few years, the quantum era is going to start. So IoT, AI, and quantum, that's going to change the way we work, the way we think, the way we live. It's going to be totally different. And it's going to happen in many of our lifetimes, especially mine for sure. So I think there's a lot to happen. And this requires a lot of collaboration. And the collaboration requires that people like the different from sectors and so like this gathering get together and think about the future and inspire the young generations to get ready for next decade. So in closing, let us celebrate tonight's Silicon Valley Engineering Council Hall of Fame Induction Banquet as a milestone in the history of technology and innovation. As we stand on the cusp of this new era of technological innovation, the Hall of Fame serves as a guiding light, reminding us the transformative power of human ingenuity and the endless possibilities that lie ahead of us. So in this, with this, I will say thank you very much for your support here, for the sponsors and the contribution of all. And let's make sure this institution continues to bring more inductees into this, and they will inspire the rest of the world and deal with the global challenges. Thank you very much.
Here. Yeah. That one? Yeah, it should be back to the PowerPoint. So. But we're on the PowerPoint. So now. We went through the sponsors, so. I'll just stop sharing. I don't know. We're having some technical difficulties. I don't know why this doing. Yeah, that's actually what we should go back to.
I've got it. Got it sealed.
Yeah, so we did show the sponsors though, right?
Yes.
Okay. For some reason we got off it. Okay, so you good? Okay, are you seeing it on the screen correct? So you need to be in this screen here, right here, right? But that doesn't work. That's what you're saying.
The next one, it's the.
Okay, go ahead.
There we go.
The up and down should line. Okay, we ready, we think?
Yep, I've just got to do it on arrows.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right. Okay. Okay.
Okay, we got it working. So it is now my pleasure to invite to the stage Seelin, Vice President of the Silicon Valley Engineering Council, to the stage. Sri has been an active SVEC officer and participated in the 2023 open house. He chaired the Hall of Fame committee this year. Please give him a warm welcome to the stage.
Thank you to the Silicon Valley Engineering Council for giving me this wonderful opportunity. It's a rare privilege and I am deeply honored to be here, and particularly in connection with the Hall of Fame. And we are here today to recognize and pay tribute to a very special person, specifically who has been the workhorse, workhorse, if you will, behind the tremendous Hall of Fame institution for over a decade, well over a decade. Thus, we have a special presentation for Stan Myers for his longtime efforts and support for the Hall of Fame. Stan, we would like to welcome you to the stage. So, in a tribute from all of us, with sincere gratitude from your colleagues at the Silicon Valley Engineering Hall of Fame, the judges, committee members, board members, council members, and engineers, thank you for your years of leadership, guidance, judgment, and friendship. Your commitment and hard work and measured coaxing has greatly strengthened the Hall of Fame and helped to elevate the standing of our accomplished inductees that represent this premier engineering Hall of Fame in the nation. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank Paulo to say a few words because he has been a senior judge with our panel for many years.
Thank you. Thank you. I've been a member of the Silicon Valley judges for the past several years, as I said. I'm here to honor Stan Myers. He's been an icon in the semiconductor equipment and materials industry for more than 50 years. Stan began his career with Monsanto, and after 18 years in senior management positions, he joined Siltec Mitsubishi. He served as CEO when he was with Mitsubishi. During that time, Stan was on the board of directors of Semi and International Trade Association for 24 years. 15 of those years, he was president and CEO. Stan has also served as chairman of the Silicon Valley Engineering Council for more than 10 years and will be retiring from that position. I'd like to thank Stan for all the work he's done within the organization and for all the hard work he's put in. And Stan is a very special colleague of mine for more than 40 years. Stan, thank you very much.
Yeah, I want to thank all of these guys for everything. I've never done anything in this industry or in my family that hasn't been done by the family and by the industry. And I've only been very blessed with coming up with the end where most of us came out on the positive side. I was not going to make it tonight because I had a real problem about a week or so ago when I was Stanford Hospital. And my head was bleeding and a few things were happening. And that was a follow-up of some other problems I have at 87, 88 years old. But we're conquering those. We're conquering many things. And certainly artificial intelligence, have you guys ever heard of that? Scares the hell out of me. Because if the wrong people get a hold of it, we're all in trouble. And if we don't learn, politicians, not to argue with each other and to work together, we are in trouble. And this world has some real things that it has to do. And technology can solve some of those problems if it's in the right hands and done the right way. Thank you very much. I did not, in fact, my wife decorated me up tonight because I do have to go to the doctor for some things removed out of my head and that kind of thing. So I didn't expect this, but thank you very, very much for the opportunity. This is my little son. He actually runs the CSA of Mountain View and has for 30, 40 years. And I'm very proud of him because of the people that he helps in his organization.
Stand and semis energize the bunny.
Go ahead.
You're just introducing Dr. Nog, right?
Dr. Nog, right?
Yep.
Our next item here, it's my distinct honor and privilege to present this year's Hall of Fame inductee. The SVEC is glad to announce and add to the galaxy of exemplary Hall of Famers the 2024 SVEC Hall of Fame inductee, Dr. Ronjon Nag. Say a few words. His work spans 4+ decades across a multidimensional landscape, from developing state-of-the-art smart microphone componentry, the wizardry behind interpreting text, handwriting, and speech recognition, and digital distribution app store platforms. His more recent focus on artificial intelligence for longevity and health sciences has been through the R42 Institute, where he is considered among the global pioneers of AI. Dr. Nag is chairman and founder of Bounce Imaging, developing unique throwable cameras that also won him the $1 million Verizon Powerful Answers Prize. His pioneering work extends to Yanika, Vaccine for Aging, and Superbio.ai, founded on the Life Science AI App Store. Internationally known across Europe as the winner of the prestigious Mountbatten Medal in the UK, IET London, Dr. Ronjon Nag was also the recipient of the IEEE USA Outstanding Engineering Award in 2023. Early in the 90s, when I ran a small IR precision thermal lab serving the global semiconductor industry, it was my privilege to have met Dr. Nag many times at the TIE forums and with other Bay Area tech leaders and super achievers in the electronics field. Let's all meet him now. So without further ado.
Okay, while they're getting the slides up. We have some things to give you.
Oh, yes, things get, okay.
Shree, you have some things to give him? While I'm doing this, okay? Okay, so I'll set this up while he's giving you those things.
Well, thank you very much for all of you. Oh.
Awkward, but that's okay.
Okay, this is all going over there.
We were going to do this after.
Okay, now. Yeah, I have to stop share for a second. It's that one. That one. First I have to, hang on, I gotta go back to sharing. Screen two. Sharing. Okay, I think that's it. You see it on the screen? Live stream?
Yes. Yep, it's all.
Live stream?
We are trying.
Yep, it's on the live stream.
Good, okay, you're ready to go, and you're
Yep.
doing everything.
So, with. This is the Glass Special Award. Dr. Ronjon Nag.
All right. So it's a great honor to receive this award. The Silicon Valley Engineering Council, I think it should remember what does that stand for? It's a group of engineering institutions, not least certainly the IEEE, the ACM, the SME, SWE, and I think some others, the Electric Vehicle Auto Association. Many of us are members of those associations, but why are we members? We're members because we want to set standards for ourselves. So, I meet some young people and I say, well, are you a member of the ACM? And he says, what's that? Right. And it's very important at a very young age to be part of the professional body. If you're a lawyer, you have a body there. If you're a doctor, there's a body there. As engineers, we don't actually need to be licensed in many activities to do engineering. Some areas you do. But this is really one of the things where if you be part of a membership, and it's not very expensive, the relevant organization, then you can actually increase standards, not just for yourself, but the other participants in the community. So thank you very much for this very gracious award. And I think I feel like imposter syndrome at every level of my career. This is certainly a pinnacle. And the other members that got this award said, well, what am I doing here? Right? It's sort of an interesting thing. But I'll talk a little bit about my career, and hopefully, young or old, it'll give you some ideas and inspire you on what I'm doing. So I'm pretty eclectic. Who am I? I've got really 3 personas, and really I came to America literally, me and my wife, we came to Sally Ann over there, we came here 35 years ago with the classic American dream, with really not a penny in our pockets really, and came here for academic reasons. And I've got 3 personas. One is certainly I'd like to think of myself as an inventor, but I've invented it with my colleagues here. Many of them are in this room in different things. And the story looks quite nice, but a lot of this happened through coincidence. So we started Lexicus, we sold that to Motorola, started Cellmania, which is doing App Store, sold that to BlackBerry, and then Vocal IQ was more the advisor, invested back to speech, was sold that to Apple. So there's the history of the mobile universe. And now I'm moving to biology. Second persona is I'm an investor. So I have a venture capital firm, R42, which invests in AI and longevity science companies. And the third persona is I'm a teacher. So I teach at Stanford University in the School of Medicine. I teach AI and longevity science, and I teach in 2 levels. One is a set of courses that anyone can take, and I see many of my students here. These are the continuing studies. So the Stanford's cheapest courses, Hands up who's taken one of my courses. Who's taken one of my courses? There's quite a few. And then some people have taken courses in the medical school as well. Those for the regular Stanford students, but very commonalities. But really, I've been working on inventing things. I sometimes can't believe it. It's literally 40 years. My first AI system was in actually 1983 at Birmingham University. I've got my Birmingham University cufflinks here. Anyone from Birmingham University? Yeah, probably not. Janice, excellent. I've got my little cufflinks here. And did speech recognition there, and then started looking at handwriting recognition, and then started looking at did a lot of work in Chinese actually. Some of you worked on Chinese, I think, in that project here, and then also really the last 10 years looking at the intersection of mathematics and medicine. Anybody who wants to learn from me, they can. I usually teach a course every quarter at Stanford, and right now I'm teaching a crash course in AI. I think some of you have taken that class, and sometimes I teach a longevity science class. But where did I get my inspiration from? Well, Star Trek, of course. Star Trek. Now, the problem with Star Trek, well, it depends on the generation. Sometimes when I'm talking to high school students, I'm naturally on about Star Trek, and nearly half the things in Star Trek have been invented. One of the things that have not been invented is Android the day. Then I suddenly realized they're thinking about the movie, if at all. I'm thinking about the TV series. But really, that's why I sometimes think, well, oh, you mean you didn't watch Star Trek? Well, why are you an engineer then? That's the only reason I became it. To invent cool stuff, right? And this is the first thing. You know, this is look at the parameters of this processor. It's an M6800 Motorola processor, 1 megahertz, not gigahertz, a megahertz, 1,000 times, 8 kilobytes of RAM. Looking at connected, doing telephone digit recognition. And the first project I was involved with was a company called Apricot, not Apple, Apricot. Okay, Apricot Computers, a small British company, but actually invented the first laptop with speech recognition. At the time, it could only say 64 words at a time. Started thinking about speech, came here to the States, came to Stanford, and started looking at, can we apply the same algorithms to handwriting recognition? And a lot of people could handle one character at a time, but very few people could handle the cursive problem, where you have joined up characters. And so we took some of these speech recognition algorithms, applied them to the handwriting problem, and we actually made a product. As at Stanford, we had a prototype. And my reputation is, it's coming from Stanford and getting on the cover of Fortune magazine in the shortest amount of time. And this title, Computers That Mimic the Brain, this article is not 30 days old, it's 30 years old. And we're still talking about it. And my prediction is we're going to be talking about it 30 years from now. Did a lot of work in Chinese handwriting recognition, trying to take English. Chinese, those of you who don't know, is as many as 20,000 characters, very difficult problem. Motorola, they bought our company and they said, we need you to invent Chinese handwriting. We've just invented texting and we don't know how to get the characters in the box. And I said, I don't read or write Chinese. And they said, we don't care, you've got to invent it. And so we had a project, we had a team there, and that was fun. And then towards Motorola, we made phones that had browser, full screen, handsets and games and apps. And so I left Motorola to start Cellmania, which did really the first mobile app store. We were crowdsourcing intelligence. Instead of building each feature ourselves, we had really put 1 million people into jobs, into engineering jobs, to actually create the features across the world. And Research in Motion bought that company. Next thing was looking at Vocal IQ. I was more the investor, the advisor in that. And that was trying to do dialogue processing, saying how can you actually interact with your phone on a multi-state basis. But what is intelligence? Intelligence is reasoning, thinking, knowledge, perception, problem solving. And most of what we see in AI is not that. They're sort of fingerprint recognizers, loan predictors. You can't adapt to one thing. And we're seeing with GPT now language, but it's not the full solution. It's still, pretty quickly now people say, well, I know that's GPT. I know a machine created it. And so we're at peak generative AI right now. And the question is it going to follow a trough of disillusionment, or is it going to be, have we actually gone through the cycle already and we actually be more productive? And can it actually be creative? The historic critique about AI is that, it'll never be like humans, it can never be creative. So we're safe. Robbie, one of my students, trained a system on 14,000 landscape paintings. And this is a painting that was created by that system. And he thought it was being clever. He sold it for $2,000 to Business Week on the cover. But then a French company took his code and ran it, and then created a painting and sold it for $425,000 at Christie's. And he thought, well, there was a lot of discussion. Well, who owned the painting? Was it the code? Was it Robbie? Was it the French company? And actually, there was more critique from the computer science, from the engineering community, than there was from the art community, who seemed to be a bit confused about what was going on here. Computer science, well, why can't you just print another one out? What's this is special? So, of course, we've got bigger computers, more parameters than ever. And as we can get to even more parameters, we can do more things. And this is where we are at an inflection point. And I think many computer scientists have been phased about this, but many are saying, well, look, it's still not humanity. It's not human. We've not got to what's called artificial generalized intelligence, where it's human-like performance. Some people say, actually, yes, it is there. We're already there, and we keep moving the goalposts. Now, what used to be the Turing test, can you tell it's human or not? That's not good enough anymore. Now it's got to show empathy. Oh, now it's got to show guilt. Now it's got to show envy. You keep moving the goalposts. At what point are we going to say that it's real? So that's what I've been working on before for like 30 years. The last 10 years, what I've been working on now, really, I've got 3 vehicles. I teach at Stanford, but I also have a venture fund that works on investing in deep science companies. And the key area I'm looking at right now is AI and longevity science. So AI, as we all know, we talked about, is going at exponential levels, but biology is also improved at exponential levels. And we've got a number of techniques that just didn't exist even as little as 10 years ago. Lots of papers on our website that you can look at and read about. All our students have written, some of you have written these. The company I'm working on right now is Yanika, which is a vaccine for aging, trying to double lifespan. Lifespan right now, the average age of death is 78. Actually, it's dropped to 76 in the United States. Things in biology seem to terminate right at 115, 116. The oldest person, this is Jean comment, lived to 122. She started smoking at 112. But she's quite social and a lot of free time. I think she had a fairly relaxed life. But what's going to happen in the next 20 years, and you're seeing this in Japan already, where it used to be lots and lots of young people and a very few old people. It's going to be more different. But it's going to be healthy people in their 70s and 80s, 90s, and if I have it my way, 110s, 120s. Where we're just going to be a much, much different society. And you can think about what that will mean. There are people who want to work when they're 80. And what is aging? Aging is wisdom. It's not all bad. It says back pain, degeneration, but also humor. Now, we don't get quite bothered. We don't have like dollar solutions to nickel problems. We don't fly off the handle. I'm not sure if you've noticed that with older people. They're a bit calmer. They're more calm in their decision making. And the key question is aging a single characteristic, or is it right now we're treating aging as multiple diseases and we treat disease one at a time? And there's a search right now to say, can we solve all those things all at once? And I want to use AI for that. And there's actually a prize for it. Anyone who can solve this problem can win $101 million, the next prize for this solution. And the prize is, can you add 20 years in a treatment period of 1 year to a person? So there's a lot of questions of how do you decide that. But if we can actually remove old cells, we can make animals younger. Can we make people younger? And I'm using a number of techniques. I'm using certainly Yanika. Another one is certainly SuperBio.ai, which is the world's largest AI library for biology. Right now, we're commoditizing engineering. The most popular programming language today is English. So I can do that, right? We can go to ChatGPT and start typing stuff in. That's going to come, basically, we can generate millions of engineers in the world that didn't exist. I think the IEEE has got 400,000, 500,000 members. The IET has got 200,000 members. We'll probably get millions of members, people who are interested in this. And we apply it to different things. Other things I'm interested in, ECRIO, I'm the chairman of ECRIO, looking at AI and 5G networks. This is bounce imaging, which is a throwable camera. This is the one, no, I didn't get the Nobel Prize. I haven't got the Nobel Prize yet, but it's, I did get the Verizon Prize. I'm not sure if anyone's from Verizon it, which is $1 million. It's more expensive than the Nobel Prize. And it's basically a camera. It's got 6 cameras around the ball, and you throw it, and as it whizzes around, it takes a live 360-degree stitched video image. And it's for first responders, so see what's going on, what's happening. So it's doing really, really well, selling like hotcakes. But I'm really interested in cool stuff. I know we've got India Techs here, I think. They're showing an exhibit. This is a pill that you can swallow, and you can drive it like a drone in your stomach. Right, absolutely amazing. Tori and Quentin's over here. There we go. They've got it over there, showing it over there. So I'll stop there because it only gave me 20 minutes. If you want to talk to me more, you can actually talk to my avatar. Because I'm an AI person, you talk to my avatar, and it's actually cleverer than me. So you can talk to my avatar and ask me questions, and it's actually 95, 90, this is a super.ai, I think they're floating around here, about 95, 98% of the time. It's what I would have said. It's actually what I would have said. So this would have been, this would be quite interesting for you. So I think I'll stop there. I think that's my last slide. That's I think I'm on time, I think. Is that right? Yeah, thank you. But, do we have time for a question, or we go straight to Val? Okay, a question or a comment. Anyone got a question or a comment? And there might be questions online as well. No questions online. Who's got a question or comment? I think, like I said, I think the avatar's cleverer than me. Okay, Daryl. How can we invest? Which one of these things? There we go. Supra's over there, and then I think Tori's over there. We can invest in them. Yeah, Chris, he'll take checks at the end of the meeting. R42 will take checks too. Any other? Yes. Yeah, can the Earth sustain the population, and what's going to happen? I'm an optimist. I've actually become American since I arrived here, so I'm a glass half full guy. I'm supposed to be British, which is a glass half empty guy. And I think technology, we've been saying that the Earth can't do this, can't do that for decades. The Club of Rome in the 1960s said we'd have a disaster in 1980. We didn't have one because it didn't include technology as the solution for many of our problems. So I think technology can solve many of our problems, but it's not going to be easy. And we've got to have vision. We've got to, we talked about climate change. We've got to set it out there. And how do we do it? How do we double lifespan to 150? How do we reduce the temperature of the Earth by 2 degrees or stop it increasing by 2 degrees? You've got to set those goals and then go towards them. We're on time, right? Okay, thank you very much. And feel free to email me.
This mic doesn't work. Thank you.
Still not working.
Nope. There we go. There we go. Thank you so much, Dr. Naj. I hope at some point to use some of the cool things you're working on. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our keynote speaker and his presentation, How Aviation Can Save Itself from Its Climate Dilemma. Val Miftakhov is a thought leader, serial entrepreneur, private pilot, triathlete, and deep thinker. He investigates problems in our modern world and studies first principles using his physics background to develop fire solutions. Jared Posty, president of EAASV and prior Silicon Valley Engineering Council officer, met Val several years ago when they both had converted a gas car into an electric car. Val gave a presentation on electric cars, EVs, at one of our SVEC open house events several years ago. Val started his BMW EV conversion business, Electric Motor Works, EMW, and then moved on from electric cars to charging stations. Jerry bought one of Val's first juice box charging stations during his Kickstarter campaign. That business became wildly successful, and he eventually sold the company for millions of dollars. Val used that money to launch his electric airplane business, which is the topic of his keynote presentation tonight. Please welcome Val Miftakhov.
Thank you, Nick. Okay, the mic is working. Thank you for inviting me to this wonderful venue and great event. So any more juice box owners in the audience, or just Jerry? Jerry. All right, good job, Jerry. All right, so yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the next challenge after the electric cars that we're seeing in the industry, in the transportation industry, and actually overall by humanity. Well, I really think that aviation is becoming a really big problem as we look at new sectors in human endeavors, and where are we going to see the problems with the climate change, problems with sustainability. Dr. Naj was talking about doubling the lifespan, but if we don't have a planet to live on, what's the point, right? So we really need to make sure that we are making all of our areas of work and areas of life really sustainable. And one of these large areas is transportation, and the most problematic area within transportation is becoming aviation. So as Nick mentioned, I'm a private pilot myself. My father was actually an avionics engineer back in the day, and we had a lot of discussions about airplanes and airlines and air traffic and the future of aviation when I was a kid. And then when I immigrated to the United States, one of the first things that I did was enroll in a flight school and got my pilot license, helicopter license first, and then airplane, fixed wing. And this was still is a big passion of mine. And when I sold my previous company, which became the world's largest actually network of smart charging stations, the idea was we get all these batteries on wheels that we can connect to the grid. We can use all the battery capacity to balance the renewable power production so that we can produce more and more, and eventually 100% renewable grid balanced by 100% electric cars. So that was a great vision. We built the network, the company was sold, but as I was thinking about the next thing to do, the clear focus was going to be aviation. That's my personal passion and really one of the biggest problems that we have. So today, aviation is anywhere between 2.5% and 3% of the total human carbon emissions, but the actual impact is actually quite a bit higher than that. So already we have about 5 to 10% of total human climate impact caused by aviation. And the reason for that is aviation or aircraft is quite unique compared to all other types of transportation. The majority of emissions occur at altitude. And if you look at all the products of combustion at altitude, the impact is much different from the same products at ground level. So if you have trucks and cars emitting NOx emissions or particulate emissions or high temperature water vapor that comes out of all those combustion engines at the grounds, they have relatively little effect. NOx has health effects, but not so much climate effects. When you emit them at 30, 40,000 feet in altitude, profound effects. So actually 3x, 2 to 3x of carbon effect is from those non-carbon sources. Which means that if we just project the trajectory all the way forward to, let's say, 2050, when everybody wants to be net zero, all the countries, many companies have pledges, you can get into a situation when aviation is 25 to 50% of all climate impact that humanity causes. And this clearly is not a situation that anybody wants, nor will be allowed to have, right? So this industry really has an existential problem. If we don't solve this problem, then nobody will be able to fly, right? Come 30 years from now. So really need to solve it. The solution, we think, is the hydrogen electric aviation. So remember, my previous company was all about battery electric cars. I'm a big fan of battery electrics, but I'm also a physicist. And when we started thinking about how we're going to solve aviation problem, and have done a lot of analysis of the fundamentals of the batteries, you look at the ion carriers, lightest metal, lithium, and if you just take that and if you calculate what kind of charge density you can have without any of the electrolytes, anode, cathode, you get into limitations. And those limitations tell you that you're not going to have a large aircraft, 300-person aircraft, similar to today's 787 and the Airbus 350. You're not going to have that aircraft going 6,000 miles on batteries, right? That's just not going to happen. There is not fundamentally, not because batteries today are bad batteries and they will become better, but it's just not going to be possible from the physics unless we invent a new type of, completely new type of battery. And by new type, I mean, today, all the batteries are basically ion carriers, and you need to figure out some other way. Yeah. So we said, okay, we can't wait for that. Actually, before all this business background, I was a PhD student at Stanford Linear Accelerator, worked at Stanford Linear Accelerator, and in the high energy physics. So that was one of the, I was joking with my friends that this is one of the areas where you're for sure not going to see the impact of your work anywhere in real life for 50 years, probably for your lifetime, right? So this is very, very long term. So we don't have that time. So what can we do that's shorter than that and that can bring us in this industry closer to zero impact? So that's electrification, but with the right energy carrier. And the right energy carrier we thought is hydrogen, which is the most energy dense by unit of weight, or highest specific energy of all chemical substances out there. We just need to convert it to electricity. So we use fuel cells. That way we avoid all the products of combustion, and we actually have higher efficiency than any combustion engine today, right? So fuel cells already operate at 60% plus efficiency levels, which is much, much higher than the jet engines of today, even the largest ones. All the other solutions have deficiencies. So really, this is the best way to do it. Also, and that was similar to our story with my previous company, Electric Motor Works, where we said, hey, we can actually make these great services, save people money. So we're not only green and we're not only saving the environment and bringing more renewables to the market, we can actually make transportation cheaper. We can make the charging cheaper. That was a big part of the story. Same way, a big part of the story at Zero Avia is reducing the cost of travel. Because if you look at the economics of renewable energy, renewable electricity production, couple that with electrolysis, you get much better economics than fossil fuels even today. And if you look at the future, then in the future, you're going to have obviously, policies around fossil fuels. You're going to have a higher cost of extraction, and the economics will be even better, right? So we save on fuel, we save on maintenance cost. So this is really the best way to do things in aviation. So how do we set it up after we figured out the area, the hydrogen electric area? So we built the team and technology around three main areas: power generation systems. So we have our own fuel cells that we built. The company is now about a little over 200 engineers between the UK and the US. I started in a place called Hollister here just 40 miles south in the middle of the fields. So easy to fly test articles and test various things with dangerous spinning objects. And then we created our own fuel cells. We built our own power electronics, and we are building our own electric motors as well. This is the only way we believe to create a product that's really competitive in the market, because we're taking on the majors like Rolls-Royce, General Electric, Safran, and Pratt & Whitney, the big four. And you really need to have control over the entire technology space. So this is the first product that we're bringing to market. The company's been around for about 6 years. We're now officially in the certification program with Federal Aviation Authority here, administration, and Civil Aviation Authority in the UK. So two global regulators. This is the engine that we're building. We have already flown a number of test aircraft. I'll show you some of those. And already starting to work on the next generation engine that will go into the even larger aircraft. This one can power up to about 50-seat aircraft. In a traditional type of vehicles, 10 to 20 seats. That's why I see 9 to 19 seats here. If you take aircraft of today and put this engine into those, then this would be up to 20 seats. But there are possible airframes that you can build with this engine that will go up to 50. A larger engine, we call it 2000 for 2 megawatt plus. This can go into up to 100-seat aircraft. And we're already looking at some regional jet applications there as well. Can scale up to 4 megawatts and maybe even higher. Overall roadmap goes all the way to the large aircraft. Single aisle, we already have some discussions with some folks about the applications in the aircraft of the size of the 737, Airbus A320, and similar sizes. So you really can electrify those vehicles, but you really need a better energy carrier. So we have flown already several prototypes. The first prototype actually was even before this one. In 2019, we flown our first battery electric aircraft. This at the time was the world's largest zero-emission aircraft, a 6-seat aircraft, same airframe as this one. But we flew it out of Hollister. I was our first test pilot, which I'm not allowed to do anymore. But that was a memorable day. I just grabbed my chief engineer and asked him if we are ready, and he said we're ready. So we went for a flight. It was a short flight, but very memorable. The company was just 6 or 7 people at the time, so we got to the first flying vehicle. This is the second prototype. Once we've flown the first one, and this became public. We got a lot of attention worldwide, as you can imagine. The UK specifically was very interested in hosting at least part of our R&D, so they gave us a small initial grant that brought us to the UK, and that actually have been used many times by the UK government over the last few years as the testament to their forward-looking vision in aviation, because now the company has 200 people in the UK from zero in just 4 or 5 years, about 4 years. So we've flown this one. This became the world's largest hydrogen electric aircraft. Then we set up the project to fly the full-size vehicle, full-size engine. And last year, we flew this 20-seat aircraft in the UK in January. and started scaling from there as well. So these engines are now in certification. This is our next prototype that we're started to work on last year together with Alaska and De Havilland, Canada. This is an 80-seat aircraft in active service worldwide in various places. This is in our Everett location, so Seattle area. And we already demonstrated some of the technology, not in flight, but on the ground at 2 megawatt level that would be required to bring something like this up in the air per site, right? So the total power at the aircraft level is over 5 megawatt. That's what we're looking at there. We're also working on the fuel side of things with partners. So all the power plant technologies are in-house. But on the fuel side of things, for fuel generation, we work with other partners on the electrolysis side. But we do build the platform for, back to sort of my previous company origins, about the platform about smart hydrogen production, balancing of the renewable grid, renewable production of electricity on the grid, so that we can, again, increase the amounts of renewable power on the grid and use it to produce this fuel, and then use the fuel in this hard-to-abate sectors like aviation. And we have partnerships now with 15 to 20 airports worldwide, with the vision that all the fuel for aviation in the future will be moving to hydrogen as a carrier. And by the way, another, you might have seen on the previous slides, one of the other ways to repower aircraft is use what's called SAF, sustainable aviation fuels, liquid fuels, drop-in replacement. We think it's maybe a solution, interim solution, like plug-in hybrids for cars, for example, but in aviation, everything takes longer. So maybe instead of 5, 7, 10 years in car space, maybe 20, 30 years. But for that, you also need hydrogen to produce sustainable aviation fuel. So you need hydrogen, no matter what you do, how you replace the fossil fuels in aviation, you will need hydrogen. So we've been very fortunate to work with the top partners out there. So from the very beginning, we're supported by great investors. So Bill Gates through Breakthrough Energy Ventures, Amazon Climate Pledge Funds, a number of other high-profile investors joined the team and joined our partner base. We have 5 major airlines. You see some names here: American, United, Alaska, all customers, and also investors. In our latest round, Airbus came in as a lead investor as well, together with the Barclays, a major bank, and Neom, which is maybe some of you know the project in Saudi Arabia, the zero-emission megacity that the Saudis are building, $1 trillion project. So we're hoping that we can get some of that $1 trillion and actually use it in practical projects for aviation. Great number of other partners sold, already pre-sold over 2,000 engines on pre-order. So $10 billion or so worth of future revenues. And looking to decarbonize aviation and not only decarbonize, but also remove all climate impact from aviation market. So thank you for inviting me here, and hopefully this makes sense to all of you, and I'm here for questions. Any questions from the group? Yes.
So, first of all, congratulations. This is really great. The question is on the technical side. You said the output from the engine is water and heat. The amount of heat energy, how much of, in terms of percentage wise, what would that be compared to a current technology?
Yeah, so the question is how much heat output. So if inverse proportional to the efficiency, right? So the efficiency of a in that 10 to 20 seat aircraft that I've shown, the turbine engine efficiency is about 25%, 22, 25%. The fuel cell system that we already have flown is about 50% efficient. So it's about twice as efficient, which means that the heat output is, well, you can do the math, about 1/3 lower. So you have in the classic engine, you have 25% going to mechanical, 75% to heat. In our 50-50, you know. So you have a significant reduction of heat output. The larger fuel cell engine is also more efficient. The next generation of fuel cell engines that we're now already testing for larger aircraft, they're higher temperature. We go to higher temperature from about 100 C to about 200 C, and they get more efficient, and the heat exchange gets more efficient as well. Right. So one of the problems with the classic fuel cells that are in the cars, like Toyota Mirai, for example, or some other hydrogen cars, is that the working temperature is pretty close to the ambient temperature. So you have to have huge heat exchangers. In aviation, that also increases your drag and reduces the efficiency of the whole airframe. So that's what we do in-house. We build the higher temperature fuel cells that allow us to get even more efficient systems. Yes.
Can you talk about some of the regulatory concerns that Airbus and Boeing may face in their respective countries or geographies that will force them to look, closer to you guys, right, for technology?
Yeah, good question on the regulatory side. So, well, actually, there is pressure from multiple angles from the governments, right? So one is obviously climate policies, right? So that's a significant pressure point. So it depends on the country, depends on, you know, who the running party is and all that kind of stuff, right? And we're going to have some interesting transitions both in the UK and the US, I think. But there is definitely pressure there, but also there is pressure from even the traditional aviation regulation, because what we can show is that especially for small aircraft, we can make aircraft safer. Right? Electrification allows you to have more redundant power plants, more redundant power systems. So for instance, even for smallest aircraft that we're putting in the market, you have an 8-stack configuration of the fuel cell systems that's broken into 4 parallel systems. And each parallel system drives its own set of inverters and motors. They're on the same shaft, but the redundancy is so much better than a single turbine. So we can actually, and we do, go to a regulator and say, hey, now we can have single engine or single propulsor, single propeller, single fan operations that could not have been done before or were done before with lower level of safety. And these are very interesting conversations. In some countries, in Europe, for example, or most of the Europe, you cannot have passenger operations with a single engine aircraft because of these constraints. But we think we'll be able to have single propulsor operations there, right? So it's not only climate, it's also the safety side is better. Yes.
I'm curious about the purity of the hydrogen that goes into your fuel cells and what do you need to do to purify it?
Yeah, so same purity requirement as what's the purity requirement for the hydrogen that goes into fuel cells? So for the first product, the requirement is the same as for the ground transportation. So all the hydrogen cars that we have, about 100,000, I think, worldwide. Same requirement there. For the next generation of fuel cells, the high temperature fuel cells, they utilize a different different membrane, different electrolytes, so they're actually more tolerant to impurities. So you can have up to or the purity down to 99% instead of the 5 nines that you require for the cars. But already, even for the 5 nines, you already have the source in the vehicle. The industry knows how to make them. It's just more expensive, right? As we go to the next generation of fuel cells, you can relax that even more. Yes.
In terms of applications, the advantages of hydrogen fuel cell engines for the applications of drones, where do you see the benefits?
Yeah, we actually have several. So the question is applications for drones, VTOLs, and other aircraft. So we think that all aviation will, over time, will move to hydrogen propulsion, just because the fundamentals of the energy, specific energy, right? So we were talking at the table there, energy density versus specific energy. So obviously hydrogen takes a lot of volume, right? right? But for aircraft, generally speaking, mass is much more important than volume because you have to carry it, you have to generate lift. It's a very expensive metric to carry. So the volume you can solve for, the mass you can't, and hydrogen is the best in mass. So that's why we think over time, the entirety of aviation moves to hydrogen. We already have some customers in the VTOL space. So one that's publicly announced is a company, 60-year-old rotorcraft company called SVEC-CA Corporation. They've done a lot of designs that are built now by Boeing and Sikorsky and various other companies. And we are building the world's first hydrogen helicopter with them. And actually that's supported by the US Air Force grants project right now. And you can show that the physics and the economics of hydrogen electric in VTOL, in the rotorcraft, is also better than the existing incumbents. So really across the entirety of aviation, we'll see this. Okay, so last one?
Yeah.
Okay, last one.
You mentioned about services program. I have obviously question. How many times reliability?
Okay, so the question is, what's the numerical improvements in reliability compared to combustion engines? Well, so how to answer this? Once you have a redundancy, you're actually, it's quite non-linear that you have improvement in reliability, right? So for example, why we have in the existing aircraft, why do we have in most commercial aircraft 2 engines, right? Because you cannot achieve the required level of reliability with just 1 engine. Yeah, and that's why in Europe, they don't allow passenger operations with a single engine aircraft. So you actually can achieve significantly higher by orders of magnitude better for a single propulsor aircraft several orders of magnitude better reliability than for a combustion engine. Combustion engine, single engine, any part fails, you're done, right? You have complete loss of power, and then you will land. All right, so that's not an option. And with a more redundant system and most of the electrical system, if you design them correctly, the penalty for redundancy is very, very low. So that's a really structural benefit here. It's very easy to have multiple electrical machines, multiple electrical paths, power generation and processing in a small aircraft.
So basically, like R2, meaning the 2 redundancy and also 3 redundancy.
Yeah, so in the smallest engine that we have 4 quad redundancy effectively, right? Now we can lose 2 and still maintain level flights, right? So 2 out of 4, and that's a very, very rare event when you have two failures out of 4. Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Miftakhov. So now it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Yanika Schneider to introduce the recipients of the 2024 SVEC Education Awards. So Dr. Schneider is the member delegate for the study class in here, FPE Golden Gate section, and president of that section. Dr. Schneider has been on the SVEC board for 2 years, has been education committee chair for both years. So please welcome her to the stage to give out the SVEC Awards.
Thank you so much. And this is my favorite part of the show. And I might be a little bit biased as an educator, but I think it's really important to honor outstanding students and educators. And so without any further ado, I would like to announce our education awards. Now, I want to mention slides. There we go. Okay. So this year we had a lot of applicants, 35 applicants, and we couldn't really make these decisions without our esteemed judges. So I really appreciate the help of Allison Wright, Maggie Best, Helen Aronson, Glenn Friedman, Sri Seelin, and Seal Craig. And if you're ever interested in being a judge, please talk to me. We really need judges for these awards. Okay, so I'm going to announce our winners, and I'd like you to come join me on the stage when your name is called. So our first winner is Priyanka Karnakaran, and she is a senior at the Evergreen Valley High School. Come. Is going to be attending MIT in the next fall. She is going to be majoring in both computer science and business and minoring in public policy. She is the founder and co-captain of the robotics team. And also she's very involved with Society of Women Engineers. Our committee was very impressed with Priyanka's leadership skills and her fascinations with programming and AI. Priyanka hopes to make knowledge more accessible to underrepresented groups by empowering others to reach their potential. So, congratulations, Priyanka. Okay, our next winner is Vivian Yang. And I do want to mention that all of our winners today are women, but we had a lot of male applicants. There's no discrimination at all, I promise. Half of our judges are men, so please don't think of that. It's just we had so many amazing applicants. So Vivian, please come along. Vivian is a senior at the Castro Valley High School. She's also involved with Society of Women Engineers. She's the vice president of her chapter. And she's also president and co-founder of the Radian Readers Club, which provides literary support to local elementary schools. Vivian is passionate about research and science, and she's done internships at both Berkeley's lab and at the Open Zoo. She plans to study mechanical engineering and also business administration. You're kind of getting a theme here, business and science. And she hopes to be a founder and CEO. Congratulations, Vivian. Our next winner is Niksha Sharma. She's actually a junior. She's the only junior that won the scholarship. And thank you, Niksha. So Niksha fascinated the committee with her various leadership roles, including being a global lead for the Youth Parliament, which is a UN Science Summit Committee, and organizes students to speak on specific issues. She is also the founder and CEO of the Youth Mentorship Program, which provides mentorship to STEM projects. In her spare time, she hasn't done enough, she works as a computational neuroscience researcher at Stanford's Schneider lab. She's using AI to analyze dendritic spine images. And after college, she wants to work at a company that focuses on research, doing something like OpenAI, Boston Dynamics. I think you should talk to Ronjon. Talk about AI. Thank you. Winner, she is not able to be here because she is really involved with the robotics team and she has a big day today, but I still want to honor her. Amanda Zhang from Mountain View High School. She's the lead on the software team and they have a big meeting today. So she's really sad she can be here. Maybe she's streaming this. So she's also done research at the Berkeley Hybrid Research Robotics Lab. And she created her own career panel on AI. So we were really impressed by her leadership skills and dedication to science. And Amanda wants to work at NASA. She wants to explore new worlds and assist astronauts across the universe. Congratulations, Amanda. We have a few honorable mentions. Thank you. I totally forgot to do the part. So our honorable mentions, they are all men, but they did really great, and we want to honor them. Michael Young, Ethan Ramsey, and Oliver Chang, congratulations. Now I'd like to present the college awards. So our first winner is Claire Hung. Someone come here, Claire. Claire is studying computer science and physics at Berkeley. She's a junior there, and she is a researcher in Laura Waller's computer imaging lab. She's also very involved in Society of Women Engineers, where she's president of outreach, and she oversees a variety of programs for K-12 students, including a 10-week research program for female high school engineers and a one-day STEM program for 80 local underserved students. Claire also did an internship at Apple, where she developed an automated testing framework for a camera simulator. And she hopes to get her PhD, where she will explore the joint design of optics and algorithms. Again, maybe you should talk to Ronjon for imaging. So congratulations. Okay, our next winner is Tram Du. Please come here, Tram. Tram is a senior at the state, and she is majoring in aviation, flight operations, and also minoring in business. She will be graduating this spring. She has worked as an analyst assistant for the Aviation Safety Reporting System, managed by NASA. She's also the vice president of Women in Aviation at the San Jose State chapter. She is also involved in outreach programs through the San Jose College Corps, which is an after-school program for fifth graders. So Tram wants to be a pilot, definitely talk to our other speakers. And she's dedicated to supporting women in aviation and inspiring younger generation of enthusiasts. So very happy. So we're here. Right. And our final winner, she couldn't be here today, is another San Jose State student, Dima Sadek. So she is studying industrial and systems engineering and minoring in computer science. She's also a junior. She is the publication director of her IIII SE club, and she also tutors elementary and college students. She hopes to develop a medical history. It's just like a passport, but has all your medical history. And she really thinks that modern problems can be solved with the right program or invention. So I'd like to congratulate you. Our college, we do have one honorable mention also from San Jose State, and that is Maria Fernanda Palacios Martinez. So our high school winners get $500, our college winners get $1,000. That's our scholarship. All right, thank you so much for all the listening. And I'm going to end tonight by congratulating our Keeper of the Flame recipient, and that is Deborah Demas from Santa Teresa High School. So Deborah, you can join us. Thank you so much. And Deborah has been an educator for 34 years, and I understand this is the second time you won this award. But the cool part is, I didn't know this. The cool part, she won it exactly 20 years ago when she had just started teaching at Santa Teresa High School. And we really wanted to honor her this year. We had a number of great applicants, but one thing that really struck out for us is Deborah's outreach to other teachers and her cultivation of a teaching community that supports one another. I think that's really important. So in addition to teaching physics, Deborah mentors the FIRST program, the robotics competition, along with a couple other clubs. Let me move on. Here we go. So she teaches a bunch of physics classes, and then she mentors the Interact Club and the Physics Club. And 2 years ago, she did this whole redesign of her curriculum that's based on grading equity. So really not focusing on the volume information, but making sure students really understand what they're meant to do. She's also part of this Ignite program that guides fellow teachers incorporating their summer learnings or internships into their curriculum. She also she leads a physics district group, providing support to her fellow faculty. And really what caught our committee's attention, that despite 34 years, she's always willing to learn new things. So she told us about 4 years ago, she was told by another teacher about the robotics curriculum, and she thought it was really interesting. And she, so this curriculum includes coding and circuits and all these things that students do at their own pace. And although it is a challenging curriculum, students learn a lot better. And so the fact that you can still innovate after 34 years and find new things from fellow faculty is really impressive. So we really commend Deborah for her dedication to science and fellow teachers. And I think she's inspiration for us all and highlights the values of this council. Congratulations.
With that, let's get one more round of applause first for our Education Award recipients. For this year's Inspiring Hall of Fame inductee, Dr. Nag. And let's get a thank you for our keynote speaker, Miftakhov. So thank you all so much. I wish you safe travels, and may we see you at the Silicon Valley Engineering Council banquet next year. Oh yeah. So all the education we're getting you to come up. Our keynote Hall of Fame inductee. We have some pictures we'd like to take. We sure can. Yeah, I don't have a picture. So we also want to be thoughtful of it. Yeah.